Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our third Normalizing Market Bootcamp session. We are so excited to have you guys jump on with us today. I am going to kind of pause and talk slowly during my intro. There's a lot of people still coming in from the waiting room, but we started off with Rod Messick, our CEO, kicking off our boot camp, and Dolly and Tom Blefko talking about the mindset of the market. And then last week we had an agent panel with agents who were jumping in talking about providing excellent seller service. So today we have Cheryl Yerger and Mia Anderson who are going to be talking about marketing your listings and seller communication strategies. Cheryl Yerger is our manager for our East York office in York, Pennsylvania, and Mia Anderson is one of our top agents out of our Annapolis office. So before I hand it over to them, just a reminder for you guys, if you guys can please try to stay muted today, just so we can prevent any audio feedback. I am going to monitor the chat box, so please feel free to use the chat box for questions, comments, and then we will also leave time for some questions at the end. Cheryl and Mia.
Hi, everyone. I am Mia Anderson. I am out of the Annapolis office of Home Sale. I've been selling real estate for 19 years. I'm from a real estate family, and I pride myself on helping my clients find their happily ever after. That's what I like to call it.
That's awesome. Hi, everybody. I'm Cheryl Yerger. I've been in the real estate industry for 20 years in a whole bunch of different varieties, from selling real estate to training real estate to managing real estate. So hopefully we have some good information to share with you today. I look at it as cooking. How many people are chefs or like to cook or want to be chefs? I'm sure, yes, I see Megan is, so that's awesome. I am a horrendous chef. Just want to tell you all that right now. But I find that if I follow a recipe from start to finish, even the worst chefs or the worst cooks can produce something really, really good. So I kind of use the analogy of marketing recipes. And if you add your basic ingredients, which would be what the company offers, and you sprinkle in the agent value, which is your personal go-to ingredients, and sprinkle that in with some secret recipes, you will come out with an amazing product. So that's what we have for you today. Talking about the tips and tricks that we use to market properties, especially in a normalizing market. So if we talk at a minimum about what the company brings to the table, what are the basic ingredients in their recipe? We have a lot of information that we provide and a lot of things that we do for our agents. One of the things that is happening for you automatically from day one is when a listing gets entered, there is a 7-day ad that is created for you on Facebook, as well as some apps that we have, CNN, the Weather Channel, ESPN, all of that is done on your behalf. And with the seller setup, if the seller has their email provided, they actually get a copy of everything that is done for them. So 7 days are automatically paid for. There's some additional ingredients where you can customize that and add to that, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. If you do an open house, which in this market, we're getting back to having time to be able to do an open house. If an open house is set up for 2 days, you will have targeted Facebook ads that will be created and boosted for you. Every listing has its own property listing page that you will be able to see on your website and also through homesale.com. Also, all of our listings are syndicated to over 32,000 websites, which is an awful lot of websites, but the key is to provide maximum exposure for your clients. We started this new program in August, I believe, where all of the admins in the office will set up for you on your behalf a seller report that will be sent to your sellers every Monday. And we'll talk more about what that includes, but it's a great tool for you to help stay in touch with your clients. We have property flyers that are made for you. And then there's also a YouTube video that gets created. And that is basically a slideshow of all the pictures that you have entered into the MLS with some background music. So it's out there, it's working for you, and you don't even have to do anything to have them. So that's a great tool and a great main recipe for you guys. This is an example of the chalk system. Has anyone gone in and edited that or understand what that is? Okay, BH Resource Center. And basically, if you wanted to, it's branded with your information and all your contact information. And as I said, it goes out for about a 15-mile radius around the property. So it's targeted through all of these apps and the Facebook social media platform, but you may not see it. So when you log on to Facebook and you see all of these ads, a lot of times I have people ask me, well, I didn't see the ad. How do I know that it happened? Well, it's based on the targeted area of the property. So you definitely may not see it, but you'll always know that it was done because you can double check it with our seller reports, and you will have access to see that as well. And then Mia, also, we were talking about this. Anytime something happens, your seller gets notified. So they'll see the advertising that is done. And if it goes from just listing to just closed, that will also be sent out to your seller. So it's a good way of communicating them on a level that you don't necessarily have to. Okay, as far as open house ads, we are the only company that's providing this for our open houses. We changed it just a little bit. It used to be that you had to have your MLS into your open house, I'm sorry, into the MLS by Wednesday. Now it's on Thursday, so you have a little bit more time. And once that's in bright, home sale will create the ad and pay for it, again, targeted within 15 miles of the property. And all of the results and statistics will be seen on the seller report. Your property listing page, you all have a website through homesale.com. Some of you may have a more enhanced website, or some of you may have hired someone to create your website, which is fine, but your property will absolutely have its own unique site that you can copy and paste and share on social media, that you can share as a text message, any way you can to expose it. And that includes the photo, a virtual tour link, MLS data, market trends, and it's branded to you. And the benefit of that is if someone clicks on those links and let's say they want to see a property, that's going to go, or see the property or have a question, that's going directly to you. And you'll be able to see that on the home sale center, your CRM site. It will show you when those leads are captured. Plus, if you have it notified the right way, you're going to get an email telling you that someone has reached out for you. So listings, I use I do sell once in a while. Actually, I had a listing appointment last week and I used this slide as well to talk about the outreach that we have through Berkshire Hathaway. So you will have maximum exposure on all these portals and more. And again, all of that comes back to driving that information to your page, to the property listing page, so that you guys all have the opportunity to capture those leads and also to talk about the property, because at the end of the day, we want to sell it. And who else knows the property better than you as the listing agent? Virtual tours, I talked about this a little bit. It's a basic template. The end of the day, it's already done for you. However, you can edit these and make them your own and jazz them up. Mia is going to talk a little bit later about some of the video techniques that she uses that really makes it a powerful presentation and adds a lot of value to your marketing plan and to your clients. Okay, so that's the basics. Those are the basics ingredients: flour, sugar, eggs, butter, all that good stuff. Hopefully I'm not making anybody hungry. All that's done for you automatically, part of our Berkshire Hathaway plan. Next, we talk about agent values. So this is where, what makes us different? What makes us unique? What kind of things can you add? What flavor can you have to enhance and make this presentation and make your plan more appealing? So Mia, I'm going to ask you, what are your extra ingredients?
So the ingredients that are extras that I think bring the most value, I'm a firm believer in professional photography and videography. And it's a professional real estate photographer, so that you're getting the right angles and the right shots. And so with that, I'm able to get some really good raw materials for my marketing. So solid materials, really. The videography is exciting, and it is a live action video of the home. I'm not in it. It is really giving a walking tour and showing what's there. And that really goes far for consumers walking. When they walk in, they feel like they've been there and they know what they're looking for. There's some extra marketing that I do that we'll talk about later, but something I firmly believe in that adds incredible value is staging. It's not staging in the sense of bringing in sofas and beds and that kind of thing. It's what I call the warmth staging package. So I don't photograph empty homes. I have stock, and I have a designer that helps me. And so we bring in pillows, towels, greenery. I have some small tables and lamps and artwork. Even like pretty ornate doormats, some potted trees if I need those things. But I have this stock that I can take to these homes so that when my photographer's coming through, it's not a white box. You can tell each room from the other. It's enough to incite the imagination as far as what the potential of the home really is. I'm a firm believer in social media marketing. And yes, we can share it ourselves, but there's so much more that can be done that we can utilize for very little costs. I use sign boxes on every listing. So if I have a yard sign out front and I have a post that I can put it on, I have marketing materials in that. If I'm in a community where I can't put a sign up, I have freestanding brochure boxes that I will put up against the home. So it's up against the garage. If it's a condo, it's up against the condo building. And they're streamlined and discreet, so they typically don't get removed. And in that sign box, I have my very best brochures. So if I have a glossy, what I typically will put in is a 4-page glossy. And when people come out and they get that, their first touch is high end. It feels good. You're going to keep it. And it's highlighting, like with 4 pages, you can get maximum photos. My largest photo is never the exterior front because you're standing in front of my house. So let me show you something that's a little bit better than that. I do use booties at every listing, so that the seller isn't cleaning nightly. And if it's a home where they've turned it over to me and it's my responsibility, I'm not there vacuuming nightly. So there's ample booties. I keep extra supplies at every listing, so that I'm always stocked. My transaction coordinator is Heather Donaldson, and she's a rock star, and she makes me look like a rock star. So when I'm on the road, I've got somebody who's fielding like the urgent things, and sending, I mean, whether it's getting an addendum out or whatever, she's like that secret weapon, that my clients are like, wow, you're always there, you're always available. And I'm like, yeah, it's because I've got Heather. So additional money for marketing, it can be very well spent. I'm a firm believer in the Facebook boost. It's the best bang for your buck. For some time, I was using HomeSnap and boosting through that. And for the results and the outcome for the money I was spending, it didn't add up. And so I went back to the Facebook boost, and $40, you're getting huge promotion, whereas you could be at the 99 mark for HomeSnap, and it's not happening. So I stopped doing that. And love the open house. It's a great opportunity to market your house, but also market yourself. And we've got some really good information coming up on that as well.
Mia, before you keep going, we have a couple questions that came in, and Meg, feel free to unmute if you need to expand on any of these. One of the questions, do you include a pre-listing inspection with all of your listings?
You mean like a pre-listing home inspection? I do not. What I do is, after we've had our listing appointment, the initial one, and I come back and we have a conversation. If I've seen something at the listing appointment or subsequent that I feel like needs attention, so this is an example. I was on a listing appointment the other day. I can smell everything. And I opened the utility closet where the HVAC was, and I smelled gas. And I was like, you got a gas leak. We need to get in front of that. Or whatever I see, after we've been in the business a little bit, we can read a house. So I don't necessarily get a professional inspector to come out, but anything that I see that I think warrants a second look, we try to do that in advance.
Thanks, Mia. And then a couple other questions. Are you staging the homes yourself? Do you have a stager? And then that group of additional services that are being provided, are you paying for those on behalf of the seller, or do those get charged to the seller?
So to make it cost effective, I had a young agent that I was mentoring, and she's like, Mia, you do a really good job, but you can do a little more and take it to the next level. So I buy some stock so that I have some things. I don't have the cost benefit analysis of sometimes having a stager come in and bring all of these things on their own, and you're out of it and they handle it. It gets really expensive. So I have a designer who works with me. She'll use the stock that I've accumulated. She has stock herself, but there's some quick ways that you can get some staging stock and have it. And one of the things that happens in our area is Goodwill sells the Target homewares that don't sell at a significant markdown. So I could stop into Goodwill and I'm buying brand new stuff that I can put into the house. And so I pay the designer. We have, we've come to some terms on the pricing of it. And by me doing that, I'm adding value. I don't cut my commission. This is what I will say. If I'm providing professional photography and professional videography, and I can sell your home for the maximum amount of money in the shortest amount of time, that has a cost associated with it. So I do pay for those things, knowing the return that I'm getting on that investment.
Thank you, Mia. You hit all of the questions that have come in so far. You two are good to keep rolling.
Okay.
Okay, so some of the options that we can provide for you, that is a choice for you as an agent, is the additional marketing packages. So for $75, that gets billed to your monthly invoice, they will, which is virtual, our marketing department will send out 25 just listed postcards, 25 just sold postcards. We'll create a property flyer for you that you can print out in the office, and we'll do additional social media graphics for you that you can post in addition to what is already done on Facebook Connector. And they'll also send you a thank you letter to the seller. So these are things that you can mix and match and do on your own, or you can just add the value, put it in there, and add that to your marketing plan. So we have a silver level, which is $75. And then we have the gold marketing package, which increases it to 50 just listed postcards and 50 just sold postcards, plus some additional brochures, additional time for advertising. They would actually do a reel for you, email blasting out to your agent, sphere of influence if you provide them the database. So a lot of meat and potatoes in this to make sure that you have the maximum exposure. And actually, Mia, I know that you use this as well in your marketing plan, correct?
Yes. Excuse me. I do like the 50 postcards. If you look at the average size community, the 25 really isn't going to cut it for getting everybody a postcard. So yes, I do the 50 just listed, 50 just sold. The 4-page brochures are powerful. It's a lot of information and a lot of pictures of the home that you're able to get out in one fell swoop.
And the benefit about that too, as you and I were talking about it, not only is this a lot of great exposure for the seller and helps them sell their house, but it's also amazing for you, and I'm sure will help you as the neighbors and everyone in that area sees all the things that you're providing and wants for when they have a real estate need.
So the 4-page brochure is what I put on the sign, excuse me, on the sign out front in that brochure box. And then the other size brochures that I have go inside of the listing themselves. So everybody's getting something. So if you come into the home, you're getting a nice marketing piece too. But I really like having my best thing out front, and it shows people what you do, and shows them how you really do stand out, especially when there's other homes in the community.
Perfect. Social media. I know that a lot of us out there are using social media to market themselves and also market their properties. One of the best tools that we have is our Facebook connector, which utilizes, it links automatically to your Instagram, to to LinkedIn, to Facebook. And anytime that you have a new listing or it's sold or you have an open house, even a review, all of that gets posted for you automatically on your business page. It's a super fantastic, easy button to use. Mia, again, takes this to the next level when we talk about how you post things on social media and where you do that. So do you want to talk about that for a minute, Mia?
Absolutely. So when I talk about my social media posts, typically, and I do it this way at a couple different times throughout the process, is I ask 3 local influencers to share my posts. So these are the posts that have the video embedded in them, extra pictures, 3 people who are active, especially in that community, in that town. And I ask them to like, comment, and share. And it really gets the ball rolling, and it gets me organic exposure and organic growth. And then what ends up happening, which is phenomenal, is as it gets out there, you'll see people typing in the name of their friends who are looking for a house. So that's super helpful. And it really does take your social media to the next level. It gives it some real power. Another social media kind of thing that I do for my Just Listeds is I reach out to the community groups. So in our area, I live in Crofton, and Crofton has the Crofton Mommy Area Playgroup. And we call them the Crofton Momfia, because these ladies know everything that's going on. And you get one of them to start sharing your information and your posts, and they're plugging it into people that are looking for homes, and they're sending it out and saying, hey, did you see this? I know you were looking in that area. And that is powerful, and that is free. The other group that I use is it's called the Real Housewives of Fort Meade. And so we have the Fort Meade military base here. And those Real Housewives are actively working to help families that are having their permanent change of station, PCSing. They're always looking for homes for other military families. So having them share that as well, you're targeting people in each instance, people that are looking for homes, you're pushing it out to them and they can share it as well. So that's a win. And if we look at the way I do door knocking, and this is really kind of fun, I plant myself in the community. I'll pull up, I watch, I wait, I see who's walking their dogs, who's talking to whom, and I'll ask my seller, who is the person in this community that knows everything that's going on, because I need to meet them. And I'm just out and about, and I'll talk to people as they're walking down the street with their dog. I might have dog biscuits with me. Hey, I'm listing this house over here. Do you want to pick your own neighbor? Who do you know that wants to live here? And so I know I've reached that sweet spot when the neighbors are waving to me when I'm in the community and when I'm at the house. They know this house is going for sale, and they know me. And that's another great thing.
Right. So it's not intimidating either. You know, people always get worried about knocking on doors. It's more of a warm call than it is, just not knowing anyone when you get to know that whole neighborhood. The other thing is, I can't stress enough about Just Listed postcards, especially now. I have a lot of agents that will say, I sent out a just listed postcard, and I got a listing off of it. Really does work. It's organic. It doesn't cost a lot of money, and people at a minimum get to see you in the neighborhood. Sometimes I also, one of the tricks I tell people is send a couple of just listed postcards, not only in a radius around your area, but send them to your sphere of influence too, so that they can see that you're still busy, that you're doing real estate, and that, especially if it's a great listing, they may know someone that can sell it. So it's definitely something that you can do in Express Docs. Hopefully everyone knows how to get into Express Docs. And if you don't, your manager can help you, but you can get into it through Team Home Sale. Another tool that we have for you guys that really is underutilized is the Marketing Resource Center through BH. There's a lot of really great content on there. I have agents go there for the e-newsletters, particularly because that content is already done. And it also allows you to customize some things. So it's a great opportunity to add some of your listing information in there, and promote that as well to your sphere of influence. It's really worth taking a few minutes of your day and going through all of these to see all of the features that is very easy to get. Going back to social media, we talked about the social media connection, but there's so much more that you can do with this. Mia, do you want to talk a little bit more about your videos and how you boost?
Sure. So the videos that, again, that I'm using are the ones that the videographer created, the walking tour video, where he's actually coming in the room, kind of zooming in, panning out, and going around. And that is what I will use primarily for marketing. And that video is, I typically will have, it's a one-stop shop for everything for that house. So it's got photos, it's got the video, it's got the floor plan, it's got the map, and it's got the description. So we put that facing forward as well. And that's something that typically it's in a format that my sellers can then text to other people. And so they're super proud to share the end result of how their house turned out. And they can put it on their social media, their pages. But again, sometimes our parents aren't on social media. So if you can text that to people, you can still expand your reach for maybe the age set that's not right there online looking at all of these things. So that's something that I've been doing pretty consistently. And then again, just asking as I meet people in the community, they may not be my Facebook friend, but can I text this to you so you can share this as well? And it's done really nicely. So it's branded to me, but it's something that's easy for them to use. Any age group can use that.
Perfect. If you don't have your own videographer, and you want to create your own videos or edit, and customize some things, you can do this as well through the BH resource with the Chalk digital platform. That is where you can go to customize. That's where you can go to extend the time frame for your ads that you want to do. You can actually pay for additional ads and target where they go on television. So there's a lot of opportunities here. That's where your value comes in on what you want to add to the marketing plans that. The other thing that we were talking about a little bit is, we have so much information, and we have our listing presentation can be very long. So, we were talking in Ninja the other day about doing a pre-listing packet and leaving it at the sellers and then coming back to talk about it, to circle back. But people are also very visual. They want to see things spelled out. And sometimes it's just as simple as what I used to do is make a customized marketing plan for every single property, because each property, especially if it's a luxury listing, you may want to add pieces and parts or take some of your ingredients out. So something that I used to do is I would actually take a picture of the house, because I would drive by and take a look at it. I would incorporate that into this marketing plan, and then I would customize it specifically for that property. And I found that when I did that and backed up all those slides behind it, it was a lot more powerful and people could appreciate that. Okay. So that's basically, the other thing that's not on here that I would add is I always added open houses as a strategic marketing plan. Now that we have the ability to do them again, it's a great opportunity. It accomplishes a lot for the seller. And it also accomplishes a lot for you as a realtor, because you're going to prospect to possible potential sellers as well as potential buyers. As a newer agent, you can get a lot of business by doing an open house. Your open house, as I said, can be part of your marketing plan, and what day you go live does matter. I've had a lot of questions on this. Mia has a theory. I have a theory. When the market was selling quickly, we would talk to agents about possibly going live over the weekend, on a Saturday or sometimes even a Sunday, so you could guarantee that you had time to do the open house. And that would create energy. It would gain some momentum. The showings could come after, and then you got the opportunity to have the open house and then drummed up additional business by doing it. So that's a possibility for doing it. Mia, your philosophy is to take your listings earlier in the week as well. Do you want to talk about how that works for you?
Sure. So I go active on Tuesdays, and through the coming soon status, my sellers get an opportunity to play with their showing time app and learn how to do it. And so then we're active on Tuesday. And when I go active, I have already started announcing when this open house is going to be, because my focus, goal, and outcome is to drive people into the home prior to the open house. Most people now don't plan on ever getting to see the house at the open. They know it may or may not happen. So by doing it Tuesday, I really got some momentum going for the weekend. And it's been successful. I will have agents who will say, if I write an offer, will you cancel your open house? Well, yes. If you write me something my sellers can't say no to, then that is a possibility. But we're working towards having it, and we're just trying to drive the traffic there by doing it on that Tuesday.
Right. So two different strategies depending on what your seller wants and what works best for both of you, for them as well as you. So there's a lot of pieces and parts to the open house as well. The most important thing is creating that atmosphere. So we always, go in, turn on all the lights, do all of that kind of stuff, but you got to create that sense of warmth, like Mia was talking about, a warm house, not just a white, sterile house. So, one of the secrets that I used to do, especially when I was a young agent and I was doing open houses for other people, Mia was talking about smells. Sometimes you walk into a house and it's not the best smells or the most inviting smells. I never would use candles because I always thought, you walk into a house and there's 5 candles everywhere, that kind of hides something. So what I would do, especially this time of year, is I would go to Giants and get one of those Mrs. Smith apple pies, the frozen ones, and I would put that in the oven and bake it during the open house because it takes like an hour and a half to make. And as people would come in, that's the first thing they would say, "Oh my God, it smells so great. You're making a pie. That's amazing." You have that great, warm, cozy environment for them to look around the house. And then when the pie was done, usually that was the end of my open house. And I would leave the pie for the seller and I would leave them a thank you note saying, "Thanks for the opportunity to do this." So was a great little secret of mine that I used quite successfully. Mia, you also have a great idea that you use sometimes. You want to talk about that?
So my champagne open house is really a favorite. If I have a listing that is just like made for entertaining, and that can be a beautiful kitchen or even beautiful gardens, I'll do it a Friday night and advertise my champagne open house. So I have plastic flutes, and they get a little bit of champagne and some chocolates and some strawberries. I've got some music playing, and you're touring the house like that. And you can imagine yourself having your parties and hosting. If a home has beautiful gardens, I'm a gardener. I mean, I totally appreciate the energy and effort that goes into that. So we'll do that very same thing out in the gardens. So if there's outdoor lighting that will kind of support us being out there, you can walk outside and enjoy your champagne. And it's just a different kind of way. It's not your kind of your average thing, but for a home, again, that is an entertainer's dream, I will entertain in that home.
The other options that we also use sometimes is, I know everyone has the paper login signs for Facebook. I'm sorry, for open houses, which we have an example of that for you. Some people are uncomfortable if you have, here, let me show you real quick, and then I'll go back to it. So here's the options that you guys have where you have the guest registry that everyone can fill in, or you have the ones that can be split in half so that one person at a time is filling it out. Some people are uncomfortable with that. And I like to be a little bit ahead of everybody else. And there are electronic sign-in programs that you can use. I know Curb Hero is free, that they can just scan a QR code and it captures all their information and you can use that to sign in. And a lot of them also will send texts automatically back to the client to say thank you for attending the open house. And some of them even integrate with the CRM so they could go into close. So it's a great method of not only making you look good, but an opportunity to capture some leads.
And if you're going to use these electronic sign-in
Yes.
programs, you really have to make sure that you have connectivity in there. Because if this is a home where you have to stand out at the street in order to send a text or make a call, your electronic sign-in isn't working. So know that I'm telling you this because I learned this the hard way at my own listing. So have that paper handy, just as a backup in case you run into some problems like that.
Absolutely. One of my favorite ways to prospect, and when we have new groups in my office that we do this together, is prospecting the neighborhood before an open house. We would spend 45 minutes, usually on a Thursday, and knowing the demographics of the neighborhood helps. So if it's an area that there's older people that live there, we would go during lunchtime. If it was a younger family, we may go towards the evening, but we're actually knocking on some doors, inviting the neighbors to the open house, talking about the assets of the neighborhood, what they love about it, and that maybe there is someone that they would like to invite to the open house. We would have it an hour earlier for the neighbors to come through. And if they don't have anyone, then they may know someone that's looking to sell, because someone that comes to the open house ultimately may love the neighborhood, but just not that house. So we ask if they know anyone that's looking to make a move that maybe we can match them up with. And when we do this for about 45 minutes, I would say there's an 80% chance that we walk away with a lead thing, because if your open house, for some reason, it's a bad weather day and you don't have a lot of activity at the open house, at least you gain some knowledge and some exposure from walking around the neighborhood. Ultimately, it's a great opportunity for you guys. Social media, Mia, do you want to talk about that a little bit? And then also talk about how you have your open house set up for the neighbors.
So my open house that is set up for the neighbors, I will invite them to come an hour before and have their own tour. Bring a friend if you choose to, and you can walk through. And then we have the bigger open house right after. So I make sure I have enough materials that they can take them with them as well. And it's just warmth and happy and warm and fuzzy. And the great thing too is, if I've been out in the neighborhood, I can talk to them face to face and say, we are having that open house this weekend, so please do come by. And this is an interesting and non-traditional way of doing it. This is October and we have Halloween coming up. So I get a snack that the kids aren't going to want to eat. So if you get the little packs of pretzels, they don't want pretzels, they want chocolate. So you take that pack of pretzels, and I will attach one of the little business cards for the house to that and give it to the seller that this is what I need you to give out at Halloween. And that pack of pretzels is going home to mom and dad. And so it's a quick, easy, kind of fun and way to promote your open house or your just listed in the Halloween time.
Perfect. Okay, so we talked about the sign-in sheet. And we even talked about the hosting a neighbors only open house. Making sure that the seller has homework for this as well. The seller needs to post the invite on their private Facebook group for the neighborhood and invite the neighbors that they know. So it's a team effort in that sense.
And then in having the homeowner be ready for their open house, typically when I've gone through and we've done pictures and video and the house is just right, I ask my sellers, when you get home, take pictures of every room, because this is how I need your home to present on the daily. When you leave your home in the morning, this is what it needs to look like. For your open house, this is what it needs to look like. And there's no second guessing, or I don't remember where she put that. You've got a picture of everything I did so that they can recreate it.
And they do it too, right, Mia? When you set it up that way.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I have them taking pictures of the beds, because before pictures, I remake the beds to how I want them. So take that picture, you can see I brought the pillows. Take a picture of the pillows and how they're arranged, everything. It has to be, put your best foot forward. So I try to give them the tools to put their best foot forward, and let's go out there and shine.
Love it. Especially, it's a definite recipe for them. They don't even have to think about it. All they have to do is just follow what you have laid out for them. As far as the marketing, we talked about how Bright feeds the open house to all of the websites. as long as it's set up in bright. And then that also targets the Facebook open house ads. Again, the deadline for that is Thursday by 10 a.m. for you to have an open house that weekend. One of the key things that I love to talk about is that we haven't touched yet. Wait a minute, we did this. Is we talked about door knocking, emailing, close. We talked about express docs and flyers, social media posts, asking the seller. We talked about that. We talked about targeting your own posts, but the open house promo video. I know we all hate to be live on videos, but I do feel like open houses is a great way to promote yourself through a video. And it's uncomfortable as all heck, I know. But we've had some good results from it. And I know that, Mia, that's something that you started doing as well, right?
So I usually have someone with me at the open house, and I don't always have them dressed as an agent. Sometimes they're just dressed as a person visiting the open house. So before the open house starts, we'll do the video of me out front talking about it, telling everybody to come by. We step in, kind of pan through that room really quick, and then it ends. And that's then launched. But the one of the values of having that extra person there is there are times when I want to convey information to the open house guests in a way that's non-threatening. So I will have my partner ask a question in front of an open house guest. So one of the big ones is, what community amenities are included here? And, sometimes that's the question I'll answer, or just, I have like key questions that I'd like to get the answers to a consumer without them ever having to ask. And so that has been super effective, and it kills two birds with one stone. So I get to brag on the house, but I'm also safe as well.
Absolutely. And setting expectations, not yes with your seller, but also with the people coming through the open house is really key in getting the results that you want. Running through, as Mia said, talking to them about what you want, how you want the house to look, and not to be there. We don't even have to have a discussion on it. You just tell them they need to pack up and go away for a couple of hours. And that they're going to get results from the house later that day. Talk to them about how the day is going to go. And then, your job is, before you get there, to have, when you get there, you're going to get there early, having everything set up exactly how you want it to be. Where's the slide? Okay. When you're doing the open house, you want to promote the listing as well. So providing, MLS sheets or flyers or mortgage paperwork or 4 ways to buy flyer, the consumer notice. But the other thing that you want to do is you want to market yourself. And so the goal of this is for the buyers to take something away that belongs to you, that's branded with you. I used to do calendars. It's the end of the year now, and usually there's some people that order calendars, those magnetic calendars, to send out to their sphere of influence. I would order some extra, and I would give them out as open houses, or give them out to my buyers that I'm meeting for the first time, so they had a something they could put on their refrigerator. Also, we used to do Popeyes of a bag of popcorn that's branded with your name and information on it that says, thanks for popping by my open house. So simple things that they can take away, that has your information. Mia, what's your secret ingredient for that?
So I have, when we do the staging, we have like a little mail caddy that goes by the front door, and that has my lifestyle magazines in it. So if you've come and this isn't the house for you, you can still take that piece with you, and it's got my information on it. And I do like these buyer and seller flip books, because if you're at an open house, so you're in a house, clearly you're interested in buying or selling, and this one may not be the one, but I can't let you leave empty-handed. So these are also really good tools to use.
And what I like about those books is that they can be personalized for you. You can have a page about you in those books. It's a great, great tool. And then finally, how to conduct your open house. Again, setting the expectation for the buyer. When I was doing open houses, or when I do them, I tell them, they come in, I ask them to sign in, I tell them some information about the house. But then I also say that, I'm doing this for the seller. And so my job today is to provide feedback on the house. So I want to know, go through the house, take a look at it. I want to know what you love about it, what you hate about it, what you wish it would have. So take a look around, and then I'm going to meet up with you before you leave and get those comments so that I can give them to the seller. And what's great about that is that they know I'm going to talk to them before they leave. And yes, they give me information about the house, but it also provides another opportunity for me to reach out to them and talk to them about what are they looking for, and possibly get an appointment or have an action item for them by the time they leave. Mia, what could you add to this as well?
I really like talking about the special features of the home. I have to know what has sold in that community, and I have to know what it looked like inside, condition, features. And so I like to bring up at the open house, well, you may have seen, this home down the street. Let me tell you why this one is different, because we've got the custom pantry in the kitchen, and I use that to talk about the upgrades here, but how it's different than all of the other homes. So that's one of the things that, if I'm really forward with bringing up to people, because I want them looking for that as they go through the house.
Perfect. And that brings us to seller's communications and how we communicate with the seller. Again, it's setting expectations. So we have a conversation. Listen, this is how we're going to do this. You tell me how you want to be communicated. Would you like to be, would it be a phone call? Would it be in person? Would it be a text, an email? How do you want me to communicate with you on a weekly basis? Is there a day that works better for you? And once that's established, then I throw in the other things. So on every Monday, we're going to get a feedback, a seller's report. We're going to add a showing report to it. So you're going to have a really good idea of what the week did. And in addition, with that seller report, you're going to be able to see any new comparables that came on in your area, so you can see what your competition is. So it can be very flexible. You just need to get it set up at the beginning of the listing, because if you don't set that expectation, you're going to have possibly a frustrated seller and a frustrated listing agent as well. Mia, did I miss anything? Okay.
You got it.
Awesome. And then, if put in your calendar, you can make it a reoccurring appointment whenever you have to reach out to your sellers. So this way, if time blocking works for you, that's great. But if you have sellers that want to be notified at different points during the week, I just set it up as a reoccurring reminder, and then I know that I need to reach out to them. Okay, so that's all that I have, I think. I think basically if you have all this information, hopefully there was a lot of things that you remembered and some things that you can add to so that you have the perfect recipe and the perfect marketing plan. And Mia, I think you are amazing. And I am so glad that you did this with us because you have so much knowledge and so many great ideas. So thank you for that and me getting to work with you.
Thank you for the opportunity, both to you and Jen. I appreciate it.
Thank you, ladies. Before we say goodbye today, we did have a couple questions come in. One of the questions was the single page marketing plan. Is there a platform that you're using to create that in?
So mine was a little bit more primitive. That is in Canva, and actually marketing did that for us. So I'm sure that we can share that with you guys, and you can customize it how you would like.
Awesome. And then the other question comment, so Cheryl, I'm going to lean on you for some guidance to share with everybody for this one. So Mia had talked about walking through the neighborhood and having conversations with the neighbors about the potential of, hey, if there's somebody that you know that's looking at buying a home, they could be your new neighbor, and having that conversation. Do you have some dialogue that you recommend just to keep everybody in good shape with fair housing and how to have that conversation the right way? So just a concern had come up with, being careful in the dialogue of picking the neighbors and picking the people in the neighborhood.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes. Yes, I have some scripts on what to say when you're walking around the neighborhood. And I can circle back with Mia and see if we can come up with something that we can send out to everybody based on what she says as well.
Perfect. So once I get that dialogue, I will include that for everybody when I send out the slide deck and the recording. So you guys have all of that in one nice little package to refer back to when you go back through today's session as a refresher. So I think that those were all the questions. Thank you so much, Cheryl and Mia, for your time and your willingness to share, what you found successful and what you use in terms of your own client base and your own business. We appreciate you taking the time to share with all of us today. And thank you everybody for tuning in. Our next boot camp session is next Tuesday at 1 o'clock. And we will have Sarah Sample and James Ream talking to us about navigating the normalized market when you're working with buyers. So stay tuned for that session next week as well. Thank you.